The meeting of the Committee on Legislation, Rules, and Policies of the Board of School Directors will please come to order. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Present.
Director O'Halloran.
Here.
Director Vanoy.
Present. Here.
And Chair Zomber.
Present.
We have a quorum.
The Pledge of Allegiance was recited at the previous meeting. This meeting is being held at the Central Services Building. This meeting may also be accessed via the MPS YouTube stream, the links to which may be found on the MPS website and the broadcast page. Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a short announcement regarding interpretation services for the Spanish-speaking members of our audience.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a la Junta Escolar de las Escuelas Públicas de Milwaukee. Si deseas escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor llame al 312-626-6799. Otra vez, 312-626-6799. Introduzca el número de reunión 608-130-5362. Nuevamente, el número de reunión es 608-130-5362. Gracias.
For each of our items of business, we will hold a discussion and public hearing. If you wish to speak, please fill out a speaker slip and bring it to our secretary, Dr. Owen Moore. We have no virtual no virtual speakers registered tonight. For the sake of fairness and to give everyone a chance to speak, the chair reserves the right to limit the length of time allowed to any one speaker. For the safety of all and to ensure the good order of a meeting, harassment or intimidation tactics of any kind will not be tolerated. Anyone who engages in such harassing or intimidating words or actions will immediately be asked to cease. If such behavior continues, a recess will be called and offending parties will be removed from the meeting. Anyone ejected from the meeting may continue to listen to the meeting or access the agenda items online. Now let's begin. Madam Secretary, item 1.
Madam President, item 1 is action on amendments to the Board Rules 2.05 and 2.10 relative to the charges of certain committees of the Board. The recommendation is that the Board adopt the proposed modification to the Board's rules as attached.
Okay. Do we have any members of the public who wish to make comments? No.
We do not.
Okay. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? No. What's the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director Herndon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we accept the recommendation of the committee. Would that be correct?
And the Office of Board Governance.
The Office of Board Governance. The recommendation of Office of Board Governance on this particular Board Rule 2.05.
And
Okay,
2.10. Yep, okay. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
On Director Herndon's motion to adopt the amendments to Board Rules 2.05 and 2.10 as attached, Director Herndon?
Oh, sorry, it's a roll call.
Yes.
Director Jackson?
Aye.
Director O'Halloran?
Aye.
Director Vanoy?
Aye.
And Chair Zomber?
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
The remainder of the items on our agenda are draft policies that we will consider in a work session format. Before we proceed, we will take public comments on the work session items 2 through 5 on the agenda. After the public comment period, our work session will begin and we will not take any additional comments. Madam Secretary, do we have any speaker slips for the work session items?
We do not.
Okay. At this time, we will begin our work session. Would you please call the next item?
Item 2 is work session on policy review, consideration of and possible action on Section 4000 Health and Safety.
Thank you. This work session will follow the same process as previous work sessions on policy review. Members may set aside policies from the packet for which you would like to have a separate discussion. We will have a discussion and take action on each item set aside. I will then ask for a motion to approve the balance of the policy drafts that are not set aside. Do any members have any policies from the packet that they wish to set aside? Director O'Halloran?
I know I have more of them, but 4310.1
44501, Emergency Nursing Services / Plan.
Sorry, can you read the policy the number one more time?
Yeah, 4310.01, Emergency Nursing Services / Plan. It is on page 4 of the PDF. Also, 4431.01, Asbestos Management. I don't have the other two numbers handy. I have to go look for them. Does anybody else have any in the meantime?
What were the titles of them? Or you're looking?
The one pertaining to sudden cardiac arrest and the suicide.
The sudden cardiac arrest is 4340.
Okay.
So 4340, student accidents, illness, concussion, and sudden cardiac arrest.
And then policy 4350, I think, is the next one. Suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention.
43, okay, yep.
I think those are all of them
Suicide.
that I had questions on.
Prevention, intervention, and postvention. Okay. Do other committee members wish to set items aside? I have, I would like to set aside is this the same? Yeah. 4407, School Resource Officer Program. And then 4431, Preparedness for Toxic Hazards. And I think that was it, because the other one is a different item. We're not taking 3, 4, and 5, right? Just number 2. Okay. Any last call, any other items to set aside? Policies, draft policies? Okay. So, Madam Secretary, what is the first policy set aside?
The first policy set aside is 4310.01, Emergency Nursing Services.
Okay.
And that was set
Oh,
aside by Director
I'm
O'Halloran.
sorry. With no additional policy set aside, may I have a motion to approve the balance of the draft policies in the packet?
We should wait until we.
Do all of
yeah,
them?
do them all
Okay,
first.
I will do that. Director O'Halloran, did you want to comment on?
Thank you, Chair Zombor. I just wanted to make sure I understood. On D, it says the district shall make emergency nursing services available during the regular school day, including summer or interim school, and during all school-sponsored student activities. And can administration just kind of walk me through our readiness to fulfill this obligation under the policy?
President Zombor, Director O'Halloran, members of the committee, Jennifer Mims Howe, Chief Academic Officer. Director O'Halloran, in letter D, what this talks about is that nursing services are available for any of our extracurricular activities. And so if students are to go on field trips, if students are to participate in any interscholastic activities during the day, the nursing services can be provided.
So they can be provided, but they are not, I just want to, okay, so the operative word in the sentence is shall and not are. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure. And what, so if there is, just since we're having this question, because somebody did come to me one time and they were like, yeah, my daughter she's diabetic and I just don't feel comfortable. Like, what is the process for requesting those support services? For like field trips, if there is somebody that needs to have an emergency nursing services available for their student, how does that work?
Chair's on board, Director O'Halloran, Jennifer Mims Howe. Basically, if the student has a student medical plan at the school, a health plan at the school, those services are provided. parent chooses not to send the child, that is their prerogative as well. However, if a student is to go on a field trip and they are to have their blood sugar checked, a nurse is available to go to do that. Also, if there is a medication that needs to be given while on a field trip, our nursing services are available for that as well, so that all students can participate with their non-disabled peers or non-medical peers.
Okay, thank you.
Any other follow-up? Do any other committee members have any comments or questions on this draft? No? Okay. Madam Secretary, what is the next policy set? Oh, we have to take a motion
Take a
on
motion on
each
that.
one.
Yep.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, it would be my pleasure to move approval of the emergency nursing services / plan as attached to this item. Or do I need to do for all of 4,000?
For the
Okay,
4310.01.
perfect.
Any other?
Madam Secretary, can call the roll.
Okay. On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve policy 4310.01 as attached, Director Herndon,
Aye.
Director Jackson,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Vanoy,
Aye.
and Chair Zomber.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, what is the next item set aside?
The next item set aside was policy 4431.01 on asbestos management, set aside by Director O'Halloran.
Thank you. I was just
Dr.
saying to be
O'Halloran.
called on. I like to follow the rules.
Thank you. We're in a work
It just,
session.
one of the last paragraph says, the superintendent will also ensure that at least once every school year, the district provides written notice to parents, employees, and employee organizations regarding the availability of the district's asbestos management plan, and any response actions taken or planned. And I was just wondering, if administration can walk us through how that information is disseminated as a parent in the district. I get a lot of communication, so it 100% could have come to me, but I legitimately don't recall getting this information in the past. So is there a current process for this, or is this a process TBD?
Administration, and I also don't know if this is a new
Oh, okay.
draft that maybe isn't already in policy, and this could be a new, I think, I'll let administration comment.
Chair Zambor, Director O'Halloran, although I don't have the information on what has been done previously, I will absolutely get to the board what we will do in the future and how we'll get that out and make it more public. Pretty certain we'll also be putting this out on our website. Obviously, we have a new website going out in October. Make sure all of these pieces are available to our parents and accessible.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, members, I just wanted to confirm that we don't have a current administrative policy on asbestos management. So this is new language that was provided by Neola. And I don't want to speak for the administration, but just our office processes public records requests, and we do get requests for asbestos management plans. Each school has a plan, and those plans have to be made available for public inspection, so people can go to their child's school or any school in the district during the school day and ask to see that school's plan, and it would be made available. It's a big, thick binder.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's a very helpful context to have. Are there any other questions on this draft policy? Okay. Would you like to make a motion, Director O'Halloran?
I move approval of the asbestos management policy as attached.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, the secretary will please call the roll.
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the asbestos management policy as attached, Director Herndon,
Aye.
Director Jackson,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Vanoy,
Aye.
and Chair Zomber.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, what is the next policy set aside?
The next policy set aside is policy 4340, and that is on student accidents, illness, concussion, and sudden cardiac arrest, set aside by Director O'Halloran.
Director O'Halloran.
Thank you. This is, once again, I just registered my son for soccer, and so I may have seen it and agreed to it without knowing that I saw it. Specifically about the sudden cardiac arrest piece, I believe I did see something about concussion protocols, but can we just confirm? There's a lot in these policies that say we do these things, and I just want to confirm that we're doing them before, we move approval of them. So can administration just confirm that that information is part of the athletic registration process?
Administration.
Chair is on board, Director O'Halloran, Jennifer Mims Howell, Chief Academic Officer. Yes, with the advisement of our physical education specialists, as well as our Milwaukee Recreation, in conjunction with our MPS Manager of Health Services, this is part of the packet. And the part that you're speaking of when it comes to making sure that cardiac arrests and are dealt with, concussions are all dealt with, are part of the WAA policy that's listed below, as well as the Department of Public Instruction. So that information is part of the packet that you received as a parent.
Thank you. With that, it would be my pleasure, unless there's other questions.
That's okay.
Okay. It would be my pleasure to move approval of the student accidents, illness, concussion, and sudden cardiac arrest policy. I believe it is 4340 as attached.
Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve policy 4340 on student accidents, illnesses, concussion, and sudden cardiac arrest as attached, Director Herndon?
Aye.
Director Jackson?
Aye.
Director O'Halloran?
Aye.
Director Benoit?
Aye.
And Chair Zomber?
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
And just before we move on to the next one, I just want to say the district has actually done a phenomenal job on the cardiac arrest, and we've, had at least one life saved recently for quick action. So just want to commend the staff for the training that they do and all of the work, because it does save lives. Yep. Okay. Next policy, please.
All right, the next policy is policy 4350 on suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention, and Director O'Halloran set this one aside.
Is it okay if I jump in? Okay. I know that I'm familiar with the Hope Squads and the QPR training that, the district has provided in my district. I asked for a community event, and so I know that we have a lot of staff who are doing the work and saving lives. I just wanted to follow up on the one line that says training will be provided annually for all teachers and staff under the staff development on page 2 of the policy as attached. And I just wanted to confirm that that is being done as part of the lots of PD that we do.
Administration.
Chair is on board, Director O'Halloran. This training will be offered. QPR training is offered, as well as the schools that have Hope Squad. And then, yes, that information will be offered as a option for teaching staff to have in the schools as well for professional development.
Okay.
Any follow-up?
No.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on this policy draft? Okay. Madam Secretary, could you, I'm sorry.
It would be my pleasure to make a motion if you would like, Director
Yes, I would
Zambor.
love a motion before we call the roll.
I would like to move approval of the suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention code 4350, please, as attached.
Madam Secretary.
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve policy 4350, suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention, Director Herndon?
Aye.
Director Jackson?
Aye.
Director O'Halloran?
Aye.
Director Benoit?
Aye.
And Chair Zomber?
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Thanks.
Madam Secretary, what is the next policy set aside?
The next policy set aside is policy 4407 on the School Resource Officer Program.
I just set this one aside because this is a brand-new policy for us, and I understand we pulled a lot of, by we, I mean probably the administration, pulled a lot of the items from a template that Neola had recommended or offered. I'm actually wondering if we can just hold this aside for maybe a couple months so that the board I would like more time personally to talk to community members, students, teachers, especially since this is so new. This is a really hard time of year for people to come to meetings. The audience is empty right now, and I don't think it would be if it were in a month or two once school has started. So this is a really important policy, and I just want to make sure we have time to engage with the community on it. So if there's no objections, I'd like to set this aside maybe 2 months, 2 board cycles. Is that okay with administration?
Chair Zomber, members of the board, that's okay with us. Just knowing that school starts September 2nd, we will have SROs in our building. We do have an active MOU with the city that outlines a lot of the expectations here. And so I don't think there's any problem with holding it off, just to be fully transparent with the board, knowing that this won't interfere with any other actions we have for our schools to be safe and secure in the fall.
And all of the thank you for adding that, and all the Neola policies don't get so these are drafts that we approve, and they won't, so everything we're doing tonight, because they're the Neola ones, except for the committees of the board. So the ones we're doing in the work session don't actually get approved until we do another final approval, when the whole Neola policy process is done. So even if we had approved this tonight, it wouldn't go into effect for maybe another year,
Yes.
maybe sooner if we're lucky.
Yes.
Okay.
Chair Zomber, I just want
Yeah.
clarification for my own
Yeah.
edification, in that if in fact there was a Neola policy, but there was an urgent reason for you needing to bring it forward sooner than a year, you would have the option to do that,
Yes.
correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And we could, if the administration wants to, when we bring this back forward and you want to bring it in both formats.
Yeah.
We could do that, absolutely.
Did that with Title IX last month.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
there's an urgent one, we did.
Great. You probably need a motion from me to set policy 4407 aside, or hold it in committee for 2 cycles.
Yes.
Okay.
On Director Zomber's motion to hold policy 4407 in committee for 2 cycles, Director Herndon,
Aye.
Director Jackson,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Vanoy,
Aye.
and Chair Zomber.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, the next policy set aside, I believe, is 4431, preparedness for toxic hazards.
That is correct.
Okay, I set this one aside. I just want to confirm that in the lead resolution, there was a request for additional policy related to any recommendations that were in the lead action plan. I just want clarity. Is there another policy that the administration would plan to bring forward? Or is this preparedness for toxic hazards, should it really live in this policy?
Chair Zomber, I'm not certain at that point right now, but I will check with Mr. Terza and his staff around this
Okay.
issue, just to make sure that it's ready for any kind of updates that we would give around the lead plan, the monthly lead updates that we do.
Okay.
I think that Mr. Galvan would like to speak to some part of this.
Director Zombor, members of the committee, also in terms of toxic hazard, it is part of every school's safety plan. So there's just a little bit of a difference in terms of, how do we deal with those as opposed to lead or something that is a long-term. This would be an immediate, and every school has a plan to deal with that.
Okay. So, because I don't want to not approve this if the lead policy, kind of like the asbestos policy, asbestos management policy, if it would be a separate policy. So if we're not going to add to this for lead, then I think I'm comfortable approving the draft as is. If another one's going to come forward, I just want a clarification. Okay. All right. Then I move approval of policy 4431.
On Director Zomber's motion to approve Policy 4431, Preparedness for Toxic Hazards, Director Herndon,
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Aye.
Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Vanoy.
Aye.
And Chair Zomber.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Okay, with no additional policy set aside, may I have a motion to approve the balance of the draft policies? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chason.
Thank you, Chair Zumber. I thought I had captured the numbers correctly. There was one item, 4410, that maybe I was just going to offer some additional perspective on, if that doesn't
Yeah.
break our parliamentary rules too
We can add
too
it.
greatly in our work. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chason.
Yeah, thank you. In the draft of 4410, it brings sight to what exists in statute, but I don't think we have something currently within our current policy. It speaks to persistently dangerous schools. And I want to make sure that we spend enough time maybe just considering precisely how we're going to align our policy language to what exists in statute, but avoid the stigma that could be associated with a school falling into this particular category. I don't want to move too hastily to bring our policy in alignment with statute without maybe thinking about that balancing. So I just offered that perspective here, having reviewed the document.
Thank you. So perhaps we could move to hold this in committee, and then maybe Neola could give us recommendations on alternative language for that section, or administration?
Chair Zomber, Mr. Chason, just to address that, I think it would be good to clarify the policy within here that talks to the definition of persistently dangerous schools as issued by DPI, and a reference to that, so that we could be clear, because it does say violent criminal offenses. So I'm certain that DPI must have a list of what those are. So rather than just the referral, I think it would be good to have it listed out here in our policy more clearly, right? Do you agree or disagree? That's okay.
Or, no, I think that's prudent. Anything that removes any ambiguity. And again, I just feel that with respect to MPS specifically, and us as the city of first class and the community that we serve, I don't want us to, in search of statutory alignment, put ourselves and use language that, again, stigmatizes any of our buildings. So I just wanted to offer that.
Understood, yep.
Director O'Halloran, would you like to make a motion?
I move to hold 4410 crisis intervention in committee and review the persistently dangerous schools section to better align the verbiage with the needs of our students and community.
Okay, Madam Secretary, when could you call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion to hold Policy 4410 in committee and to review the language to, in alignment with statute, to consider the needs of our school community. Did I capture that?
Would you like to?
Yes. I think the intent is there. We're not stigmatizing our children, I think, is the intent.
Thank you.
Got it. Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Aye.
Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Vanoy.
Aye.
And Chair Zomber.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Thank you, Madam, okay, any other comments before we move to the balance? Okay, with no additional policies set aside, may I have a motion to approve the balance of the draft policies in the packet? Director O'Halloran.
I move to approve the balance of the policies in the packet.
Okay, the secretary will please call the roll.
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the balance of draft policies in the packet, Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Jackson.
Aye.
Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Vanoy.
Aye.
And Chair Zomber.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Item 3 is work session on policy review, follow-up and possible action on draft policy 142.2, qualifications for election to the board. The recommendation is that the board determine how it wishes to proceed.
Does the Office of Board Governance have any additional information on this policy?
Yes, Madam Chair, we were able to get a little bit more information. This item was held to get clarification on who is responsible for verifying residency. We found that the statutes do not require verification of residency. Candidates and those elected to office are considered to be on their honor in terms of reporting their address on campaign papers and in terms of establishing residency within the timeline allowed by law. And then we also noted in statute, it notes that while the law doesn't require anyone to verify residency, Chapter 8 Wisconsin statutes allows for complaint to be filed with the Attorney General if someone believes that someone holding or elected to office is not a resident of the jurisdiction where they are required to be. So it is the Attorney General who determines the extent to which a person should be investigated or prosecuted. So with regards to this policy, there are two options that the board may wish to consider: adopt the policy as originally presented, or adopt the policy and add language that references the complaint option.
Okay. So the complaint option adds, any individual who believes a board member is not a resident may file a complaint with the Attorney General.
Yes.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Which option do we want to approve tonight? Director O'Halloran?
Okay, so I will move for approval of the optional language. I just think that putting that sentence right there is clunky. And I know this is when I get super pedantic, I'm sorry, but it just does not flow there. But I think it is helpful to clarify because there have been questions in the past. So I think that it is helpful to have it, I guess, written out that somebody can pursue a complaint with the Attorney General. So provided everybody's okay with the flow of that paragraph, I'm okay with it.
And also make that a separate sentence if you would prefer.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could add it under the
yeah, there you
school
go.
district.
That would make me so very happy.
Yes.
It's the same verbiage, it's just in a different order. And then I will move approval of the attachment with the optional language _.pdf.
Madam Secretary, if you have that all captured,
I believe so.
will you please call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion to adopt the draft policy, adding the optional language and attachment 2, Director Herndon,
Aye.
Director Jackson,
Just for clarity, that's option number 2, correct?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Vinoy,
Aye.
and Chair Zomber.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes, and we will make sure we put it in that order.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, item 4 is work session on policy review, reconsideration of and possible action on draft policy 9110, parent empowerment. The recommendation is that the committee reverse its previous recommendation and adopt the policy as originally presented.
Does the Office of Board Governance have any information to present?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you.
Looking back at it at the May 2025 meeting, the board recommended adopting this policy, but directed that we change the word commit to shall. This directive was shared with the Neola representatives who expressed concern about the language. By saying commit, the board is codifying in policy its dedication to the principles described in the policy. Shall is a term that has legal meaning. In this policy, using shall changes the statements from principles or ideals to obligations, and if the board fails to meet the obligations, it could give someone reason to sue. Neola guarantees their language and will provide a free legal defense to policies that are challenged in court. Neola will not provide a legal defense in the case if the word commit is replaced with shall. So we are recommending that the committee reverse its previous recommendation and adopt the policy as originally presented.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the committee? Actually, do committee members wish to make comments or ask any additional questions? Director Herndon?
I take the advice of Neola on this one, and I'm all for leaving it as commit.
Yeah. Okay. If there's no further discussion, the secretary will please call the roll.
On Director Herndon's motion to approve the recommendation of the Office of Board Governance, Director Herndon,
Aye.
Director Jackson,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Vanoy,
Aye.
Chair Zomber.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, item 5 is work session on policy review, reconsideration of, and possible action on draft policy 9501, charter schools. The recommendation is that the board determine how it wishes to proceed.
Does the Office of Board Governance have any information to present?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. At the May 2025 meeting, also, the board recommended holding this policy over until a work session on the district's charter school program was held. That work session was held in May of 2025, and we have brought this item back for additional consideration now that the retreat was held. The Office of Board Governance recommends that the board determine how it wishes to proceed.
Okay. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Herndon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to see that we hold this and actually go through it as a committee or committee to start with in detail. I'm of the opinion that we did not cover it appropriately when we held the retreat. I don't know how others feel, but I felt that we missed the mark on that. And this is something that's very, very important to the survival of the district effectively as we deal with charter schools, and I feel that it should go back to committee for further analysis.
I agree that we didn't talk about, we didn't really talk about the items in the policy at the retreat. And I guess I have a question for administration. When you compare the existing policy 9.12 to the draft of the Neola policy 9501, there's a significant amount of information, about 2 pages, that has been removed from the policy. Submissions of petitions and proposals was removed, types of schools likely to be supported, all of the items that would be in a model contract, establishment of charter schools by contract was removed, significance of the instrumentality status, all of the detail about employees. So the difference between an instrumentality charter employee or a non-instrumentality employee, even like who we can hire in both of those schools. The public hearing stuff was removed. Facilities, where they can be located, was removed. The per pupil allocation for instrumentality and non-instrumentality was removed. And adjustments for administrative services was removed. So I would just like to know why everything was taken out. Is there another policy that's going to be developed that includes those things? That's a lot. And I would feel more comfortable just taking the old policy, putting it in the Neola template, approving it, and then continuing to work on it. But I guess we just need understanding. Administration, do you have any comments on why those were taken out?
Yeah, President Zomber, members of the committee, Bridget Chuck Anderson, Director of Contracted School Services. So we were going by the guidance of Neola to focus on policy. So those items would be added to the procedures because that's what we would do procedurally.
Okay. I think there's still some items that even if they're going to be in the procedure, Office of Board Governance or OAE administration, someone can clarify if I'm wrong, but the procedure doesn't need board approval to change, correct? Okay, and so there's certain things in here, like when it comes to the per pupil revenue amount for students that instrumentalities and non-instrumentality charter school students get, or schools get per student, I think those, I'm not comfortable giving, I think the board should discuss that, and the board needs to have oversight on that, so I do think that needs to stay in the policy. I think the items around charter schools that are instrumentalities must be located in MPS facilities that are owned by the MPS or leased by MPS. I think we should discuss that. I think personally that that should remain in the policy, and I don't think that should be in the procedure, because someone could change that without board approval. And the same thing, oh, actually, no, revocation is still in there, so that's, so I guess, administration.
Chair Zomber, could I suggest that we pull this item for tonight and give it some more thought and then come back to it at a later meeting?
I agree.
Okay. Would you like to make the motion, Director Herndon?
I agree, it needs to be pulled. I move that we pull this item to give it both administration and the board time to do further analysis on this item.
Okay.
So our plan is to hold in committee. Is that for a specified period of time, or?
At least, go ahead, please.
Chair Zombor, Director Herndon, I would prefer to have some time to really dig into this deeply with staff, and also with the chair on her concerns, because it sounds like there are multiple items within there. So I'd like to better understand the concerns of the board, and then also open it up with my staff and be able to understand what pieces are in regulation and which pieces are in policy.
Yes, Director Herndon.
Thank you. In addition to that, because I didn't read my objections in detail, I think that even from the original, there's a statement, one stating that the board encourages the establishment of charter schools as vehicles to support improvement of the academic achievement of district students. I think that's almost insulting. That's in the original, and I would ask that you consider removing that. Another one is about the give preference and admission to any student who resides within attendance area. We don't use attendance areas, in my opinion. We did as a district at one time, but that was a long time ago. So is that really necessary in our original document? So there's a series of things like that that we could look at and probably clean it up a little bit more.
Chair Zomber, Director Herndon, if the board could really look at this closely, given the nature of the multiple changes, and then write those down, we would be glad to look at all of those pieces, as well as I'll give it a really good, thorough review upon receipt of those concerns.
Okay.
So, well, perhaps the motion would be to hold it in committee until the call of the chair? That's a
That would work.
suggestion.
Madam Secretary, I'd like to modify my motion to hold this in committee upon the call of the chair.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Madam Secretary, if you have that,
Yes, I
we
do.
can call the roll.
On Director Herndon's motion to hold this item in committee until the call of the chair, Director Herndon,
Aye.
Director Jackson,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Vanoy,
Aye.
and Chair Zomber.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, the motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, that was the last item on this meeting's agenda.
Okay, and before we adjourn, I just want to thank the administration and all of the staff that have done so much work behind the scenes to bring these policies forward. I know it is a big lift to go through everything, and the work continues. And I hear that Neola says we're making really good progress. So just thank you so much for the work, because I know it's a lot. There being no further business before the committee, this meeting is adjourned.